The movie Beetlejuice starts with some creepy words. Enter if you dare. The living and the dead. That's where our story kicks off with Lydia Dietz, who's a psychic medium between ghosts and humans. She hosts a show called House of Ghosts, where she shares strange but real stories about ghosts. During one of her weekly episodes, Lydia invited a couple and their dog. They were talking about how their dream house turned into a haunted house. We then see a video Lydia shot when she went to their place and saw weird stuff in the house. The ghosts there were really bothered by her presence. Meanwhile, there was this ghost called Beetlejuice who appeared to the audience. But the weird part was that no one else could see him except her. She freaked out, and the director said, "Let's take a break so Lydia can calm down." When she went to the restroom to take her meds, she saw the ghost of a girl she knew. Her name was Nadia. They started talking about ghosts and spirits, but the moment Rory walked in, the ghost disappeared. Lydia quickly hid the pill bottle behind her back. Rory tried to comfort her and confessed his love for her. He saw the pill bottle, tossed it in the trash, and told her not to take meds anymore. While she was trying to focus, she got a message from her mum. Lydia rushed home, and when she arrived, her mum Delia told her, "Your dad died. His plane crashed in the Pacific Ocean. He made it to the surface and was holding on to a broken wing of the plane. But a shark attacked him and devoured him." Meanwhile, we see the ghost of an old man cleaning the place, drinking some cleaning liquid. Suddenly, because of the water on the floor, there was an electric short. The old man collapsed, and all the boxes in the room fell and opened. Inside each box was a piece of a body, and in a creepy way, the pieces started coming together, one after another, fusing themselves on the table press. Finally, the pieces formed a woman named Dolores. She stood up, grabbed the old man by the neck, and asked him, "Where's Beetlejuice?" When he didn't answer, she started sucking his soul out of him until he was nothing but skin. Now we move to Astrid, Lydia's daughter, who was at school constantly getting bullied. The students would prank her with ghost tricks because her mum, Lydia, was a famous TV host. At that time, Lydia was trying to call her daughter so they could go together to her grandfather's funeral, but Astrid didn't pick up because they had issues. Then Astrid's grandmother showed up and said, "Your grandpa passed away." Astrid was in shock because she saw her grandpa as the only one in the family who truly understood her. Lydia tried to explain to her daughter, saying, "We're moving to Winter River, and we'll be staying there for a while." At that moment, Lydia saw Beetlejuice and thought she was imagining things. But strangely enough, Beetlejuice was really there, watching them. That's when we learned that Beetlejuice isn't just some random ghost. He's actually the communications manager between the world of the dead and the real world. From his talk with his staff, we find out that 30 years ago, he was in love with Lydia and has been trying to reach her ever since. Later, we see Beetlejuice getting a call, and then an officer from the other world starts investigating the case of Dolores's disappearance. When the officer asks Beetlejuice about her, he denies knowing her, saying, "I've never seen her in my life, not in this world or the other." So the cop there tells him, "You were called in because Dolores had written Beetlejuice on the wall, all by herself, before she disappeared." And he warns him not to meet Dolores, because she might be after revenge, or suck out his soul, and he'd die in the underworld. Meanwhile, Astrid and her family were at Charles's funeral. That's Lydia's dad. After the funeral, Astrid and Lydia sat together. Astrid asked her mum, "How come you can see all the ghosts, but you can't see Dad's ghost at all?" Lydia said, "I don't know how. It's not something I can control." And that's when we realise that's what caused problems between them. Now, we cut back to Beetlejuice, who's telling the workers about his past. We find out he used to be a thief who stole stuff from the corpses of plague victims in graveyards. One day, while he was robbing a grave, he saw Dolores and fell in love with her at first sight. That same day, they got married. But on the wedding day, he found out the horrible truth. Dolores wasn't human. She was the leader of a group that feeds on people's souls to stay alive. He was shocked when he learned she didn't marry him for love. She married him to poison him and take his soul. He drank the poison but found out the truth before dying, so he decided to get revenge. He's the one who cut her up, and they both died. From that day, her soul never rested and came back hunting for him to take revenge. Back to Astrid. After the funeral, she was upset, and Rory tried to comfort her. He told her, "I know how much you miss your grandpa. I'm here whenever you need me. I'll be like a dad to you." But she didn't believe him and ignored him. So Rory decided to propose to Lydia right there at the funeral. Everyone was shocked by his move, but Lydia said yes. Everyone clapped, and the funeral turned into a celebration. Astrid got mad, grabbed her bike, and went out riding around the city. At home, Astrid went into an old, locked room, opened it, and found a tiny miniature town. Suddenly, a paper fell on the floor. She picked it up and saw Beetlejuice written on it. Right then, Lydia walked in, and Astrid asked her, "Who's this Beetlejuice?" Lydia got mad and told her, "Don't ever say his name, because if you say it 3 times, he appears in front of you, and you're not allowed to come into this room again." Astrid called her crazy and left. The next day, Astrid went to see Jeremy. She told him, "My mum's getting married, but I don't want to go to the wedding." Jeremy said, "Then come over on the wedding day. We'll spend it together." Astrid agreed. Meanwhile, Lydia was talking with Rory when they both got a message from Beetlejuice. Lydia rushed to the old room and begged Beetlejuice to stay away from her and get out of her life. Rory overheard her and thought she was crazy. Lydia decided to tell him the truth before the wedding. She told him, "When I was a teenager, there was an evil man who threatened my family, so I'd marry him. He wanted to marry me so he could come back to life in the real world. But after a while, he disappeared. Lately, though, I've started seeing him everywhere. He's been trying to contact me, and I don't know what to do." Rory took the paper from her and read the name Beetlejuice. Lydia begged him not to say it, but he said it 3 times to prove it was all in her head. Right then, they got pulled into another world. Lydia told him, "We're in Beetlejuice's realm now." Suddenly, a portal dragged them in, and they found themselves sitting in front of Beetlejuice's house. Before Lydia could speak, Beetlejuice told them to let out what's inside. Nobody understood him, so he decided to do it himself. Weird, gross things came out of him. Suddenly, Lydia's belly started swelling until it burst, and a tiny doll that looked like Beetlejuice popped out. He threw it at Lydia, and it started biting her leg. Lydia said the name Beetlejuice 3 times, and she got sent back home. She was shocked to see Beetlejuice in the miniature town, singing her a romantic song and proposing to her. Rory came back later, thinking it was all just a dream or a nightmare. Astrid told Lydia they should move out of the house and go back to the city, leaving everything behind except the miniature town. They planned to smash it and throw it away. Astrid was happy about the decision, but remembered she had promised Jeremy she'd go to the Halloween party with him. She told her mum, and Lydia agreed to stay 1 more day. The next day, Lydia took Astrid to Jeremy's house. Lydia saw him through the window and thought he looked like a nice boy. But when Astrid went inside and they got closer, she was shocked to see they were floating in the air. She got scared and remembered what her mum said about ghosts. Jeremy told her he'd been dead for 23 years, and nobody could see him except her. he asked her to stay with him and not leave. Astrid asked, "How can I see you if you're dead?" He said, "There's a way I can come back to life, but I need a living person to help me. If you help me, I promise you'll be able to see your dad." At the same time, Lydia was with her friend Jean, a real estate agent. Jean told her she wanted to sell a house where a crime had happened 23 years ago, but couldn't sell it. Lydia realized it was Jeremy's house. Jean told her the story. Jeremy killed his parents, then climbed a tree and hanged himself. And since then, the house has been haunted. Meanwhile, Jeremy drew a door on the wall. It opened, and he asked Astrid to read a spell from the book. Lydia arrived at the house and saw the ghosts of the murdered parents. She rushed to Jeremy's room, but it was too late. Jeremy and Astrid had already gone through the door, which closed behind them. Lydia ran back to the house and to the miniature town, said Beetlejuice's name to summon him, and asked for his help to save her daughter. Beetlejuice agreed, but only if Lydia married him. She had no choice but to agree and signed the marriage contract so he wouldn't think she'd trick him. Meanwhile, Delia was doing weird rituals at Charles's grave with snakes, and when she held them, they bit her neck and she passed out, probably dead. Beetlejuice opened a portal from Lydia's room to the other world to go save Astrid, and told his workers not to tell anyone because it was against interworld laws. But the workers went through the portal to the living world, and when Rory saw them at the house, he was shocked. The news reached Officer Jackson, who ordered the ghost police to look for Beetlejuice and Lydia. Lydia woke up in the other world, realizing she had actually died, and couldn't believe what happened. Jeremy confessed to Astrid that the spell was meant to swap their lives. She was shocked and saw her dad working at a ticket booth. She begged him for help, but luckily Lydia caught up with her on a train, pulled her off just before the guards caught them. They ran, opened a door, and fell into the desert where a sandworm started chasing them. Richard, Astrid's dad, grabbed their hands and pulled them out before it could eat them. They were happy to see him, but he told them Astrid couldn't return to the living world unless she got her life back from the one who took it. He told them to stay together, love and support each other, and expressed his love and longing for them. Meanwhile, Delia was trying to find someone to get her out of the afterlife since she had died by mistake. She asked Beetlejuice for help, and he agreed on the condition that she'd help him find Lydia. She agreed. Jeremy was about to put the final seal to return to life, but Richard told the worker not to stamp it. The passport was stamped anyway, but the twist was that the worker was actually Beetlejuice in disguise. He stamped rejected on the passport and opened the gates of hell, sucking Jeremy in. Richard sadly said goodbye as they returned to the living world. They came out of the churchyard grave. Astrid thanked her mum and apologised. And they made up before going inside for the wedding, where Rory was waiting for Lydia. During the wedding ceremony, Beetlejuice showed up with Delia and announced that Lydia was his wife. Delia and Astrid were shocked to learn Lydia had married Beetlejuice to save Astrid. Beetlejuice injected Rory with a serum that made him spill the truth. To everyone's shock, Rory admitted he thought Lydia was crazy, and he only wanted to marry her because she was a successful TV host, and he'd make a lot of money off her and control her fortune after marriage. Beetlejuice gave Lydia a giant hand so she could slap Rory after she got mad at him. Then he made all the guests filming on their phones get sucked into their own cameras and vanish. He danced to a romantic song, expressing his love for Lydia. Officer Jackson arrived with the ghost police to arrest them, but Beetlejuice froze them in place. Then Dolores showed up and yelled, "I'm back and you're mine." Beetlejuice brought her forward and told her, "I'm a bad guy. You deserve someone better, like Rory." He dressed Rory in clothes that said, "I love Dolores." Dolores thought about it, realized Beetlejuice was right, and agreed. Astrid was looking for a way to save them, using the spellbook. She opened a portal to summon the sandworm. Beetlejuice and Lydia were happy to see the sandworm swallow up Dolores and Rory, dragging them back to the afterlife. Lydia tried to run, but Beetlejuice stopped her, reminding her they had a marriage contract. Astrid told him the contract was invalid because he had taken her mum to the other world illegally. The contract burned up and disappeared, and Lydia quickly said his name. He started swelling up until he exploded and died. Officer Jackson took Delia with him to the other world since she was already dead. She said goodbye to Lydia and Astrid and left with him, happy to be reunited with her husband Charles there. A few days later, Lydia decided to end her ghost show and live her life like a normal, peaceful human being. Sometime after that, one day Astrid was out walking with her mum when she met a young man. They liked each other and got married. When Astrid got pregnant and went to the hospital to give birth, she had the baby. But the baby looked just like Beetlejuice. He killed the doctors, jumped into Astrid's arms, and called her Mama. She was happy. But dear viewer, the shocking twist is that all of this was just a nightmare Lydia had while she was sleeping. None of it really happened. And that's how the movie ends.